Here we have an Nvidia RTX 3080 Ti Founders Edition that came in for repair. Let's read what the customer wrote without wasting any time. Card doesn't show picture. Took it apart, tried cleaning it. Heats sometimes like it's powering up, sometimes not. I did a visual inspection, found a shorted resistor, tried to separate them, but made it worse. I have a limited knowledge in PCB repairs, and I think you guys can figure out real issues better. Please laugh at the mess when you receive the card. I do not know what the customer tried to separate. Also, resistors do not short. Resistors, they open. If you have a 1 ohm resistor or if you have a 10 ohm resistor, it's not going to become 0 ohms. It's going to become 100 kilo ohms or 5 mega ohms. So resistors open and do not short. I do not know what type of mess the customer did, but I do see a label here with an arrow pointing down. Customer wrote, messed up here, capacitor lost to Oblivion. He mentioned something about a shorted resistor and not a capacitor. And he mentioned something about separating whatever. I do not know what he tried to separate. Hopefully he did not try to separate the layers on that board, the 10, 12 layers, which is really impossible, but arrow is pointing down. And I do see something missing here. I do not know if that's a resistor or capacitor, but I do not know what the customer tried to separate. Let me do a quick visual inspection on the board. Maybe we can figure it out. What's this here? That's probably, yeah, the component is soldered down like this, normal. So we see one missing component here. Let's remove the sticker, we do not need it. Lost to Oblivion, we do not need it. There's nothing on the video card that could be separated. Unless you have a solder blob, bridging, then you separate them. But otherwise, there's nothing that should be separated from a video card or any PCB. Okay, so we see a problem right here. You see it? We're going to have to reflow that component. Make sure it's making a good connection. See why visual inspection is important? Anything else? And I see something here also. Right there. See how that component is shifting to the left? That may not be a problem as long as the pins are making a connection with the pads. But it's something to look into. If we flip the board, lay it flat on the bench, I was actually holding the card with my hand and moving the card up and down under the microscope so we can focus, because the card has a lot of up and downs on it. I do not see anything wrong here. Why don't we test the 12 volt input, make sure we do not have a short. Meter in diode mode. We do not have a short here. What about here? And we do not have a short here. That's good. So let's focus on the 3 things we found wrong on back of the board. Look at this. I see soldering on the pins down here. Why? Because look, solder is not flat. The probe is getting stuck right here. Same here. Maybe we can wick off whatever solder is on the pins. Yeah, I mean, why solder on those pins? Maybe it happened by mistake. Nobody knows. Any more solder on the pins? No. So all the pins are flat now. And I do have a donor board next to me. It's not exactly the same board, but why don't we see if we have the same layout on that board? That's the customer's board right here, and that's the donor board I have. It's a bigger one. So let's see if we have a similar layout. If we go here on the donor, we do have a similar layout. Exactly the same layout. Right now we are missing a resistor and not a capacitor. Right here. What is the value of that resistor? We can measure it in circuit, and we can also measure it off circuit. Right now I'm measuring in resistance mode 0 ohms. 0 ohm resistor. That's a very important component. It can break the circuit. If the customer is not getting any image, it's very possible that the problem is this component, because it's a 0 ohm resistor. It completes the circuit. Right now the circuit is broken. I do not have a board diagram for this card. I do not have a circuit diagram for this card. I do not know what exactly that component does, but I do not need to know. All we're gonna do is solder that component back. We can grab it from this card, or we can just grab a 0 ohm resistor. But before we do anything, I want to make sure that we have a pad right here, and it looks like we do. That's good. Oh, look at this. We do not have a pad. It looked like we had a pad when the card was tilted, but we do not have a pad. Let me look at the donor. Okay, are they connected in parallel from the bottom? I don't know. Meter in continuity mode, and we're gonna measure from here. Yeah, they're connected together from the bottom, but not from the top. Okay, so let me grab that component from the donor. Do not squeeze too hard on the tweezer, because that component will snap onto the 9th dimension. Let's use our anti-glare light, just like that. And now we're gonna grab that component. Very nice. We can go over it one more time from the bottom. Let's measure in diode mode. We should get a beep here. Very good. And this resistor should be connecting with this. Very good. We're done here. Now we're gonna jump over to the crooked capacitor. Very good. Measure in diode mode. We have a beep here. And now we're gonna measure from bottom of the cap in continuity mode down to the pins on the slot. Right there. Very good. The cap is making a good connection. And finally, let me zoom out. And finally, we're gonna go here. Now this may or may not be a problem. It is a problem. And we were able to find out about this component from visual inspection. If we did not do visual inspection on the board, we would not have figured out that this component is a problem. And that's why I always mention visual inspection is very important. Let's remove the chip, apply leaded solder onto the pads, and resolder the chip. I want to check on the pads under the chip and make sure they are good. Put this on the side. And look at this, I do not see a pad here. The pad is broken and it's attached to the first pin of the chip. You see, when you have a crooked chip, you have to look under to make sure the pads are good. And this one is going where? We need to figure out where is that pin going. We're gonna grab our grinding pen. So we can run a wire from here to that point here. Great. So we need to do some minor adjustments because the chip, the legs on the chip are crooked. Let's put the chip down. Now this pin here, it doesn't matter if we bend it or not because we're gonna run a wire from here all the way to the dot, to the via that we have on top. But those two are good. And now we can solder that chip on the board. Pin is solid, 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 and solid. Now we need to run the wire from here all the way here. Now we can measure in diode mode, make sure all the pins are making a good connection. We are reading 0.7 here. We are reading OL here. 1.2 voltage drop. 1.9. We have OL. And we have 1.2. And if we check this chip, we also have OL here and OL on top. 0.8, 1.1, so the numbers are consistent with the one next to it, 1.6, and the last one, 1.1. Very good. We did an awesome job. Very nice. Now what I want to do is mask that wire. And I'm using NorthridgeFix in green UV mask. And we're gonna cure the mask using the NorthridgeFix UV light. If you have not already bought one, and you are in the same type of field, whether you are a hobbyist or a professional, you can log into our site, NorthridgeFix.com, click on shop, and you can buy all your tools from there. Add to cart, check out, pay, and we almost always ship out same day. UV light. Right, so I have the UV light over the board right here. Let's wait. Very nice. All we have to do is try the card and hope for the best. We're gonna plug the card right here. I have the card plugged right here. All we need to do is plug in the HDMI cable and hope for the best. Right now what we need to do is go like this, and we're gonna monitor this screen right here, if we get an image or not. 1, 2, and 3. We do not want to hear 6 beeps. Power supply is on, the motherboard is on, and we're gonna monitor the screen right there. Are we gonna see a Dell logo? Yes, yes, we did it. We did it. Awesome, amazing. We fixed the card. Big Boss will test the card further. We're gonna invoice and mail this back to the customer. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think. Leave it down in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll do something else in the next video.